Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is the next installment in this incredible series by Luke Reason, exclusive to the DMT TeamFEAR channel. And as ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid crew. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story, entitled Dragon Rider of the Two Worlds. Let's get straight into that. After the war against the vampires and giants, I summoned Karos to my mansion home in Terra Vale and ordered him to remove the curse on myself and my men. Once the incantation was completed, I travelled to the border between Garamond and Alagacia to meet with Aragon and Saphira. Chapter 1. A New Rider. As I stood before Aragon and Saphira, I couldn't believe what was happening. Here I was, King Arthur of the Kingdom of Terra Vale and the world of Garamond, about to become a dragon rider. It was a dream I had never dared to hope for, but now it was becoming a reality. Aragon and Saphira had come to me with an offer I couldn't refuse, to train me in the ways of the Dragon Riders. It was an honor beyond measure, and I knew that with their guidance, I could become a formidable force for good in our world. Although I was old, coming up on 80 years of age by the time Aragon's offer, I couldn't refuse, especially when Aragon told me that I would be immortal, and so I accepted his offer. On the following day, Aragon presented me with a pure black dragon egg. After much deliberation, I settled on the name Remus in honor of my close friend who died to Morgoth's blade. And for months I trained under their tutelage, learning the ancient language, the ways of magic, and the art of riding a dragon. It was difficult and a grueling process, but one that I relished with every fibre of my being. I felt as though I had been reborn, my senses heightened, my mind sharp as a sword. As I soared through the skies on Saphira's back, I felt a sense of freedom and power that I had never experienced before. I was no longer just a king, but a dragon rider, a protector of the realm. And though our worlds were vastly different, I knew that Aragon and Saphira had much to teach me. Their wisdom and experience were invaluable, and I felt honored to call them my friends and mentors. In the years that followed, I would go on many adventures, battling evil and defending the innocent, all while riding on the back of my loyal dragon companion. And though I had been a king before, it was as a dragon rider that I truly found my purpose. As I look back on my life now, many years later, I realized that becoming a dragon rider was the greatest gift I had ever been given, and I will always be grateful to Aragon and Saphira for showing me the way. As I sat atop of my dragon Remus, I marveled at the world below. It was a view that few had ever had the privilege of seeing, and I felt honored to be among them. Aragon and Saphira had become more than just mentors to me. They had become dear friends, and I knew that our bond would last a lifetime. It had been a long and difficult journey, but with their guidance and my own determination, I had become a skilled dragon rider. We had battled dark forces that threatened our world, and emerged victorious time and time again. And though we faced many challenges ahead, I knew that Remus and I were ready to face them together. And as we soared through the skies, I thought back to the early days of my training. It had been difficult, to say the least. Learning to control a dragon was no easy feat, and there were times when I had doubted myself. But Aragon and Saphira had been patient with me, guiding me every step of the way, and helping me to unlock the full potential of my abilities. Now, as a fully fledged dragon rider, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that I had never known before. And as I looked over at Aragon and Saphira, I knew that I had them to thank for it. Together, we would continue to protect our worlds from the darkness that threatened to consume them. We were dragon riders, a rare and powerful breed, and we would not rest until peace and prosperity reigned throughout our lands. With Remus by my side and Aragon and Saphira as my guides, I felt invincible. The future, it was uncertain, but I was ready for whatever lay ahead. 20 years had passed since I first started training as a dragon rider, and I gazed out across the rolling hills of Garamond. I couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. It had been years since I had first set foot in this land, yet it still felt like home. My dragon, Remus, lay at my feet, his scales gleaming in the sunlight, a constant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who had come before us. But as much as I loved Garamond, I knew that there was another world out there, waiting to be explored. And with Remus by my side, I was ready to take on whatever lay ahead. The thought of flying through the skies, exploring new lands and meeting new people, filled me with excitement. I had always felt a sense of wanderlust, a longing to see what lay beyond the borders of my homeland, and now, as a dragon rider, I had the opportunity to do just that. But I also knew that with great power came great responsibility. I had seen the dangers that existed in this world and beyond, and I was determined to do my part to protect those who could not protect themselves. Remus and I would embark on the journey that would take us across the vast expanse of the two worlds, encountering new challenges and making new friends along the way. But as we set out on this new adventure, I knew that I would never forget my roots, my home in Garamond, and the people who had helped shape me into the person I was today. They would always be a part of me, even as I explored new horizons and discovered new truths. And with a deep breath and a sense of purpose, I mounted Remus and took to the skies, ready for whatever lay ahead on this new journey as the dragon rider of the two worlds. As I fought alongside the Varden in battles against the remaining forces of the once powerful Garborterix, we also travelled to far-off lands, meeting new people and encountering incredible creatures. And during our travels, I was constantly amazed by the vastness and diversity of Alagacia, from the towering mountains of the Spine to the lush forests of the Du Weldon Varden. There was always something new and exciting to discover, and with Remus by my side, I felt invincible. As we travelled, I also learned more about the art of dragon riding from Aragon and Saphira. It taught me how to communicate with Remus on a deeper level, allowing us to work together more efficiently in battle. They also showed me the ancient language, which I used to cast powerful spells and enhance my fighting abilities. As I gazed down across the rugged terrain of Alagacia, I knew in my heart that I wasn't ready to return home just yet. Remus lay by my side, his scales shimmering in the sunlight, and I knew that he felt the same way. We had made a commitment to Aragon to help train future generations of dragon riders, and so we travelled the land, seeking out those who showed potential and helping them hone their skills. It was a joy to watch these young riders grow and develop, and to see the bond between dragon and rider deepen with each passing day. In between our training sessions, Remus and I continued to explore the wilds of Alagacia, discovering new landscapes and meeting new creatures. It was a world unlike any I'd ever known, and I felt honoured to be a part of it. And as the years passed, I knew that our time in Alagacia would come to an end. But for now, I was content to soak up every moment, to learn all that I could, and to share in the adventures of this incredible world with my faithful dragon by my side. Chapter 2. Into the Unknown. Let's get straight into that. As Remus and I soared through the skies, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the world unfolding before us. We had left Garamond behind, venturing into uncharted territories and encountering new wonders at every turn. We had flown over deserts, mountains, and oceans, encountering all manner of creatures along the way. And some were friendly, while others were not, but with Remus by my side, I felt invincible. One day, as we were flying over a dense forest, I heard a faint cry for help. Remus heard it too, and we descended down into the trees to investigate. And as we landed, we saw a group of travellers being attacked by a group of goblins. Without hesitation, Remus and I sprang into action, unleashing our full power on the attackers. But the goblins were no match for us, and soon they were retreating, leaving the travellers unharmed. As we helped them to their feet, I could see the gratitude in their eyes. They told us of a nearby town that was being threatened by a powerful dragon, and asked if we would help them. Without hesitation, we agreed, knowing that it was our duty as dragon riders to protect those who could not protect themselves. We set out for the town, our hearts heavy with the weight of the task ahead. When we arrived, we saw that the dragon was indeed powerful, with scales as black as night and eyes that burned like fire. But we were not afraid. With Remus by my side, I knew that we could defeat the dragon and protect the town. We engaged the dragon in a fierce battle, our combined power making short work of the beast. As it lay dying at our feet, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. This creature had been part of the world, just like us, but it had been corrupted by dark forces and had turned to violence. As we left the town, I knew that we had made a difference. We had protected the people and saved their town from destruction. It was moments like these that made me grateful for the gift of becoming a dragon rider. But our journey was far from over. We continued to explore new lands, encountering new challenges and making new friends along the way. We battled powerful sorcerers, fought off armies of orcs, and even helped to broker peace between warring factions. And through it all, Remus and I remained steadfast in our commitment to protecting the innocent and fight for what was right. We had become more than just a dragon rider and his dragon. We were a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope in a world full of darkness. As we flew into the setting sun, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride of what we had accomplished. But I also knew that there was still so much more to do. The world was vast and full of danger. But with Remus by my side, I knew that we could face anything that lay ahead. And so we continued on our journey into the unknown, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Together we were the dragon rider of two worlds, and nothing could stand in our way. Chapter 3. The Truth. Let's get straight into that. After the battle with the dragon, Remus and I met up with Eragon and Saphira and informed them of the wild dragon that had attacked the town of Allegacia. Eragon explained that not long after he and Saphira had established a new dragon riding academy, a dragon egg was stolen and smuggled away to Morgoth's realm. Then, later, that same thief had opened a portal to the lands beyond, into Allegacia, and allowed the dragon to go to the new lands after torturing and corrupting the beast for years, until it could be unleashed into the world to destroy and conquer. As Eragon finished updating us on the missing information, I sighed and said to him, "Though it was yours and Saphira's dragon that attacked the town, we do not hold you accountable. We dealt with the problem. Now let us move on. Perhaps we should track down the thief." Eragon then said to me, "Perhaps the thief is still in Morgoth's world. We should go there and see if he is still there. Arthur, you've been there before. You lead the way." After thinking hard about Eragon's suggestion, it made a lot of sense, and so we set off for the portal that will lead us to Morgoth's world. And months went by with no luck. We searched and searched for the thief, but with no luck. Eventually, after 3 months, Eragon exclaimed, "Perhaps the thief is still out there. We should explore all possible options before jumping to conclusions. Arthur, as someone who has travelled to different realms, do you have any suggestions?" I thought for a moment before responding. "We should search for any clues or information that may lead us to the thief. Perhaps we can find someone who has information about the theft or any suspicious activity in the area where the egg was taken from. It's possible that the thief may have left behind some evidence that we can use to track them down." Eragon nodded in agreement. "That's a good idea. We can also gather information from the residents in the surrounding areas to see if they have seen or heard anything suspicious." We all agreed to begin our investigation, knowing that finding a thief was crucial to prevent any further chaos and destruction. And with the combined skills and expertise of our group, I was confident that we would uncover the truth behind the theft and bring the culprit to justice. We all fell into silence as we considered our next move. It was then that I felt Remus stirring in my mind.
"Arthur,"
he said.
I think I know where the thief may have gone.
I turned to look at him, my eyebrows raised in surprise. Where? I asked.
I remember hearing rumors of a powerful sorcerer who lived on the other side of the continent. He was said to have the ability to open portals to other worlds.
Remus explained. Aragon looked intrigued by this. That could be a lead, he said. Do you know the sorcerer's name? Remus shook his head.
I am afraid not, but I remember hearing that he lived in a tower on the edge of a cliff, overlooking the sea.
I mulled this over for a moment, trying to think of anyone who might know more about this sorcerer. And suddenly an idea came to me. I have a friend who might be able to help us, I said. Her name is Nemu, and she is a powerful sorceress. She may know something about this sorcerer. Aragon looked relieved. That is good news, he said. Let's go find Nemu. And with that, we set off on our journey to find Nemu and gather more information about this mysterious sorcerer who had stolen the dragon egg. As we travelled across Allegacia, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. We were on the brink of uncovering a great mystery, and I knew that whatever lay ahead, we were ready to face it together. Chapter 4. Meeting with Nemu. Meeting with Nemu. Let's get straight into that. As I made my way towards the clearing where Nemu was supposed to be, my heart was pounding with excitement and anticipation. I couldn't wait to finally meet her and ask her about the mysterious sorcerer who had stolen the dragon egg. As I approached the clearing, I saw Nemu sitting on a large rock, her long white hair blowing in the breeze. She looked up as we approached, her piercing blue eyes seeming to take in every detail of our group. I introduced myself and explained why we had come to see her. Nemu listened intently, nodding her head every now and then as I spoke. When I finished, she remained silent for a few moments, her gaze fixed upon a distant point, and finally she spoke. I know of who you are looking for, she said, her voice low and musical. His name is Zoltar, and he is a dangerous man. And I felt a chill run down my spine at her words. Do you know where we can find him? I asked eagerly, and Nemu nodded. He is hiding in the mountains, in a cave system that is difficult to reach, but I can guide you there if you are willing to pay the price. I felt a sense of unease at her words, but I knew we had no choice. What is the price? I asked cautiously. Nemu smiled enigmatically. I will tell you when we reach the mountains. For now, let us rest and prepare for the journey ahead. And with that, she led us to a nearby stream, where we rested and ate. And as we sat around the campfire, I couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead of us. Would we be able to find Zoltar and recover the stolen dragon egg? Or would we fall prey to the dangers of the mountains? Only time would tell. After some time with Nemu, myself, Remus, Aragon and Zephyra excused ourselves from her company to speak in private. We stepped outside of Nemu's hut into the cool, crisp air of the forest. I turned to Aragon and Zephyra and said, We need to find Zoltar, the sorcerer who stole the dragon egg. Aragon nodded in agreement. But where do we start looking? He asked. Remus spoke up.
There are whispers of a powerful sorcerer living in the mountains to the north. He might know something.
Then let's go, I said, drawing my sword. We cannot let him get away with what he has done. As Zephyra spread her wings and we climbed onto her back, and as we took off into the sky, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. This was our chance to put an end to Zoltar's evil deeds and restore peace to the land. As we flew over the mountains, I kept a watchful eye out for any signs of Zoltar's lair. It wasn't long before we spotted a cave hidden deep within the rocky terrain. We landed outside the cave entrance, and I drew my sword, ready for battle. With Eragon and Saphira at my side, we stepped into the darkness of the cave. The air was thick with the smell of must and decay. The sound of the dripping water echoed off the walls, and as we made our way deeper into the cave, we could hear the faint sound of chanting in the distance. We cautiously made our way towards the source of the sound, our weapons drawn and ready for action. And as we turned a corner, we saw Zoltar, standing in the center of a large chamber, surrounded by a group of robed figures. Without hesitation, we charged towards Zoltar, our weapons at the ready. A fierce battle ensued, with swords clashing and magic spells being cast. In the end, we emerged victorious, and Zoltar lay defeated at our feet, and the robed figures scattered into the darkness of the cave. As we made our way back to Nemu's hut, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. We had done what we had set out to do, and justice had been served. Chapter 5. The Haunted Tomb. Let's get straight into that. After the battle with Zoltar, Remus and I flew away into the sunset in search of a tomb in the Black Mountains of Allegacia. I don't know why, but something in that mountain was calling us. We later discovered that it was the ghost of the king, Galbaltarix, who was seeking to possess a rider so he could return to the world of the living and gradually change the body of the host until they resembled him. And as we approached the mountains, I could feel a chill run down my spine. Remus sensed it too and growled lowly. It was unlike any other place we had been before. The sky turned a dark shade of purple, and the wind howled like a pack of wolves. It was as if the mountain was alive and watching our every move. As we descended into the valley, a faint whisper echoed into my ears. It was the voice of Galbaltarix, the tyrant king who had once ruled Allegacia with an iron fist. He had been defeated by Eragon and Saphira many years ago, but his spirit had lingered on. Remus and I shared a look, knowing what had to be done. We landed on a flat ledge and made our way through the winding tunnels. The whispers grew louder, but we pressed on, determined to find the source. When finally we came to a large cavern, and there he was. The ghostly form of Galbaltarix, hovering in the air, his eyes fixed on us. I drew my sword, ready for the fight, but he merely chuckled. "I mean you no harm, Arthur," he said, his voice sending shivers down my spine. "I merely seek a host, a willing rider who will allow me to return to the world of the living." I hesitated, knowing the danger that came with such an offer. Remus growled lowly, warning me of the risks, but I couldn't help but feel curious. What if I could control Galbaltarix's power? What if I could use it for a greater good? But before I could even consider his offer, a voice echoed in my mind. It was Remus, reminding me of the horrors Galbaltarix had wrought upon the land, the lives he had destroyed, and the power he had abused. I nodded, sheathing my sword. "I cannot help you, Galbaltarix," I said firmly. "Your time is done, and you must rest." He scowled, his form fading into the darkness. "You will regret this, Arthur," he warned, his voice echoing through the cavern. "You and your dragon will pay for your insolence." But Remus and I didn't falter. We knew we had made the right choice, and we left the cavern feeling relieved and a little lighter. As we flew back into the setting sun, I couldn't help but feel grateful for Remus's guidance and for the bond that we shared. Together, we would continue to protect Allegacia from any threat, be it mortal or supernatural. Chapter 6. Revenge of Galbaltarix. Let's get straight into that. As we journey with Eragon and Saphira, We had no idea that Gabortoric's ghost was already putting his plan of revenge into motion. It was only when we arrived back at our campsite that we noticed something was amiss. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and we could feel eyes watching us from the shadows. Unbeknownst to either myself or the others, Gabortoric's ghost had managed to lure an ex-soldier of the former empire to his tomb to begin the first phase of his plan for revenge. Remus was the first to sense something was wrong, his dragon instincts allowing him to pick up on the slightest disturbances in the air. We quickly drew our weapons and took up our defensive positions, scanning the surrounding area for any signs of danger. That's when we saw him, a lone figure emerging from the trees, clad in armor of the former empire. He was an ex-soldier, a man who had once served under Gabortoric's rule, and now he stood before us with a look of determination in his eyes. I could sense the dark energy emanating from him, and I knew at once that he had been possessed by Gabortoric's ghost. He spoke in a voice that was not his own, promising to serve his new master in exchange for the power to take revenge on those who had wronged him. And we were faced with a difficult decision. We could not let this possessed man go free, but at the same time, we did not wish to harm him if it could be avoided. We tried to reason with him, to persuade him to cast off the influence of Gabortoric's ghost, but it was no use. In the end, we were forced to engage him in battle. It was a fierce fight, with both sides sustaining heavy injuries, but in the end, we emerged victorious, managing to break the hold that Gabortoric's ghost had on a possessed man and freeing him from his grasp. As we tended to our own wounds and caught our breath, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. If Gabortoric's ghost was already capable of possessing the minds of others, what else was he capable of? And how would we stop him from carrying out his revenge against us and all of Allegacia? Now Gabortoric continued to lure people to his tomb, determined to rebuild his armies and once again rule. Myself and my companions finally decided to quit camping so near to the Black Mountains, as we knew we didn't stand a chance against an army so vast. We travelled far and wide, visiting towns and villages to gather information about any unusual occurrences, but it seemed that Gabortoric's activities were, well, hidden from the public eye. Then one day, while passing through a village, we heard rumours of a group of mercenaries who had been hired to guard a mysterious castle in the north. It was said that they were fiercely loyal to their employer and would do anything to protect him. Without hesitation, we made our way to the castle, determined to uncover the truth behind the rumours. As we approached the castle gates, we were met by the mercenary guards who demanded to know our business. I introduced myself as King Arthur of Garamond and explained that we had come to investigate the strange occurrences in the area. To our surprise, the mercenaries allowed us to enter the castle without any resistance. And as we made our way through the castle, we noticed that it was heavily fortified and guarded by a large number of soldiers. It was clear that whoever was inside was well prepared for any potential threat. Eventually, we were led to a grand hall where a figure sat upon a throne, and it was none other than Gabortorix, now possessing the body of the ex-soldier who had been lured to his tomb. And with a wicked grin upon his face, he welcomed us to his castle and boasted about his plans for revenge against those who had wronged him in the past. It was clear that he had amassed a great army of the undead and was ready to unleash them upon the world. But I was not afraid. I had faced many challenges in my lifetime, and I knew that I could not let Gabortorix succeed in his quest for vengeance. With my companions by my side, I drew my sword and prepared for battle. During the battle with Gabortorix, Eragon and Saphira were possessed, and now Gabortorix had a rider and a dragon in his ranks. I looked in horror at my friend, who now wore a grin on his face, an evil and twisted grin. I then turned to Remus and said both out loud and through our mental link that we need to get out of there. Without wasting any time, Remus and I took to the skies, leaving the battlefield behind. We flew as fast as we could, and with the wind whistling past our ears and the sun setting behind us, I could feel the weight of the battle on on my shoulders, knowing that we were the only ones who stood a chance against Gabortorix. Queen Nasiwada listened intently to our tale, her face reflecting the gravity of the situation. She knew all too well the horrors that Gabortorix was capable of, having fought against his empire in the past. We could see the determination in her eyes as she pledged the support of the Varden in our fight against Gabortorix. As we sat in the war council with Nasiwada and the Varden leadership, we discussed our strategy. It was clear that we needed to strike at the heart of Gabortorix's power, the Black Mountains where his tomb lay. But we couldn't just rush in blindly, as we knew that Gabortorix was a powerful foe, and we needed a well-thought-out plan to defeat him. We spent weeks planning and preparing, gathering information and resources to aid us in our quest. And finally, the day of battle arrived. As we approached the Black Mountains, we could feel the weight of the task before us. We were not alone as the Varden marched alongside us, their banners flying high in the wind. We were a united force, determined to put an end to Gabortorix's reign of terror. The battle was long and grueling, with casualties on both sides, but we fought on with all of our might, fueled by the knowledge that the fate of Allegacia hung in the balance. And finally, after what seemed like an eternity, we emerged victorious. Gabortorix's army was defeated, and the tomb was sealed forever, trapping his spirit within. We had saved Allegacia from the grip of an evil that threatened to consume it. And, as we stood amidst the wreckage of the battle, I knew that we had truly achieved something great, something that would be remembered for generations to come. However, during the battle for the tomb, both myself and Remus had to slay our tutors. Eragon and Zephyra were too far gone to be saved. I looked down at the ground, unable to meet Queen Nasiwada's eyes. It pained me to admit what had happened to Eragon and Zephyra, but it had been a necessary sacrifice. Nasiwada placed a hand upon my shoulder, offering comfort and support. "I am so sorry for your loss," she said softly, "but you did what you had to do to protect Allegacia." Chapter 7. A Somber Mood. Let's get straight into that. After the battle, Nasiwada and I flew on the back of Remus to Throne Helm to discuss plans of Eragon's funeral with King Ulrich. The day after, we arrived at Throne Helm. We sat with Ulrich at his table, trying to come to terms with what happened to both Eragon and Zephyra. As we sat around the table discussing the details of Eragon's funeral, a somber mood hung over us. Despite the victory that we had achieved over Gabortorix, the loss of Eragon and Zephyra weighed heavily upon our hearts. Nasiwada spoke up. "We will give Eragon and Zephyra the funeral they deserve, and honor their memory with a monument that will stand for generations to come." Ulrich nodded in agreement. "And we will make sure that their story is told throughout the land, so that all may remember the sacrifices they made for the good of Allegacia." Then Remus spoke up.
"Eragon and Zephyra were more than just riders and dragons. They were our friends and comrades. We will always remember them."
We all sat in silence for a moment, lost in our own thoughts and memories of Eragon and Zephyra. But then Nasiwada broke the silence. "We must not forget that there is still work to be done. Gabortorix may be defeated, but there are other threats to our land that we must face." She was right, of course. Our victory over Gabortorix was only the beginning. There would always be new challenges to face, new battles to fight, but we would face them together, united in our determination to protect Allegacia. As we continued to plan for the funeral, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the friends and allies who stood by my side. And though we had lost Eragon and Zephyra, their memory would live on in a legacy that they had left behind. Chapter 8. New Rider Academy. Let's get straight into that. After the second war with Gabortorix, I knew that rebuilding a new Dragon Rider Academy was essential to ensure that the legacy of the Riders would continue. But I also knew that I couldn't do it alone, and so I turned to Bloodgarm and his spellcasters for help. Bloodgarm and his spellcasters were perfect allies to help me rebuild the new Dragon Rider Academy. With their magic and expertise, we could create a school that would not only train new riders, but also help protect Allegacia from any future threats. And as we began the planning process, we knew that we needed to find a location that was not only secure, but also accessible to all. And after much discussion, we decided to build the new academy in the ancient city of Valasmira, the heart of the Elven Kingdom. With the location decided, we began the construction process. The elves provided their skilled craftsmanship, while Bloodgarm and his spellcasters used their magic to enhance the structures and defenses of the academy. We worked tirelessly, day and night, to ensure that the academy would be completed as soon as possible. And finally, after months of hard work, the new Dragon Rider Academy was complete. The buildings were a magnificent sight to behold. The grand towers and spacious halls. The defences were also formidable, with powerful wards and enhancements to keep the academy and its inhabitants safe from any threats. But the real heart of the academy was its people. We had gathered a group of skilled and passionate teachers, each with their own expertise and experience to share with the new riders. The students themselves were a diverse group, coming from all corners of Allegacia, and bringing their own unique perspectives and skills to the academy. And as the new headmaster of the academy, I felt a sense of pride and responsibility. It was up to me and my team to ensure that these new riders were trained to the best of their abilities and equipped to protect Allegacia from any future threats. The academy would be a beacon of hope, a place where new riders could learn, grow, and forge friendships that would last a lifetime, and I was honored to be a part of it all. Bloodgarm and his spellcasters wasted no time in getting to work, using their magic to construct the new academy from the ground up. It was a magnificent sight to behold, with towering spires and intricate carvings that seemed to come alive in the sunlight. And as construction continued, I worked closely with Bloodgarm to establish the academy's curriculum and recruit new riders. We wanted to ensure that the new generation of riders would be well prepared to face any challenges that may arise, both in Allegacia and beyond. We began accepting applications from young men and women from all across the land. Many of them had lost loved ones in the war with Goborderix and were eager to join our cause. We carefully evaluated each applicant, looking for those who showed courage, determination, and a deep respect for the ancient bond between dragon and rider. And over time, our ranks began to swell, and with new riders arriving every day to begin their training, they came from all walks of life, from farmers to soldiers to scholars. But despite their differences, they all shared a common goal: to become dragon riders and serve as protectors of the realm. As the years passed, the new academy flourished, producing some of the finest dragon riders Allegacia had ever seen. And though the world was far from perfect, I took comfort in the fact that they were now a new generation of riders ready and willing to face any challenge that may come their way. Looking back on those early days of the new academy, I realized just how much we had accomplished. Together with Bloodgarm and his spellcasters, we had created something truly special. A place where young men and women could come to learn, grow, and forge lifelong bonds with their dragons. And I was proud to have played a small part in it all. Chapter 9. Final Revenge. Let's get straight into that. We thought the spirit of Goborderix was gone for good, but we were sadly mistaken. A part of his spirit had escaped the tomb and travelled to my world, the world of Geramond. It had resurrected my dead uncle, Remus, and taken full control over his body. My uncle had always been a kind and gentle man, but now he was twisted and filled with hatred. I couldn't believe it when I saw him for the first time. His eyes were no longer filled with warmth, but instead with cold, calculating malice. It was as if a different person inhabited his body, and I was torn between my love for my uncle and the knowledge that he was no longer the man I once knew. Once he was powerful enough, Gabordorix then did something that I thought was impossible. He reached out his right hand and cast a dark resurrection spell which brought back all of the fallen men that died in a war against Morgoth, and then enslaved them to his will. And as we battled against Gabordorix's new army in Geramond, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. I knew that this time the stakes were higher than ever before. We were no longer fighting to protect a world we barely knew, but to save our own world, our own people. And we fought with all of our might, but it seemed like no matter how many soldiers we defeated, more just kept appearing. It was as if Gabordorix's power was limitless. But we didn't give up. We kept fighting, even as our bodies grew weary and our spirits began to falter. And finally, we made it to the heart of Gabordorix's army, where we faced off against my possessed uncle. It was a difficult battle, one that tested our skills and our resolve, but in the end, we emerged victorious. And as I watched my uncle's body crumble to the ground, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. I knew that my uncle was gone forever, and that the man that I had loved and respected was never coming back. But at the same time, I also felt a sense of relief. We had finally defeated Gabordorix once and for all. And while the scars of our battles would never fully heal, we knew that we had done what needed to be done to protect our world and our people. As we returned to our world, we were met with cheers and applause. We were hailed as heroes, as saviors. And while we knew that the road ahead would not be easy, we also knew that we had the strength and the courage to face whatever challenges came our way. Chapter 10. A bittersweet victory and home. Let's get straight into that. As I sat atop of Remus, gazing out at the magnificent landscape of Alagacia, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for everything that had happened. My journey here had been unexpected and full of danger, but had also brought me new friends, incredible experiences, and a sense of purpose that I had never felt before. Now, with Gabordorix defeated and the new Dragon Rider Academy established, it was time for me to return home to Geramond. I would bring back with me the knowledge and lessons I had learned here and share them with my people. But saying goodbye to my friends, it was not easy. I had grown close to Nasuada, Auric, and the other members of the Varden, and I knew I would miss them dearly. Remus, too, had forged a bond with Saphira and the other dragons, and I could sense his reluctance to leave. Yet, we knew that our time here had come to an end, and we bid our farewells, promising to keep in touch and visit whenever possible, and then took off into the sky. And as we soared through the clouds, I couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweetness. Alagacia had been my home from home, and the people and creatures here had left a profound impact upon me. But I knew that I had a duty to my own world, and to the people of Geramond. And with Remus by my side, I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And as we landed in Terra Vale, I was greeted by the familiar sights and sounds of my own world. The sun was shining, the air was filled with the scent of fresh flowers and crops, and it was good to be home. But even as I reunited with family and friends, my thoughts kept drifting back to Alagacia. I knew that my adventures there had changed me in ways I couldn't even begin to fathom. However, my victory over Gabordorix had come at a great cost. Eragon and Saphira, two of the greatest dragon riders I had ever known, had fallen in battle by my hands. Despite the victory, I couldn't help but feel a sense of deep sadness at their loss. I had grown to love and respect them, and their absence left a gaping hole in my heart. But as I looked to the future, I knew that their sacrifice had not been in vain. With Gabordorix defeated, Alagacia was free once more, and the new Dragon Rider Academy would continue to train and nurture the next generation of Dragon Riders. I had faith that Blodgarm and his spellcasters, who had been chosen to lead the Academy in my place would do a great job. And as for myself and Remus, we had a new purpose. We would return to Garamond and share with our people the lessons and knowledge we had gained in Allegacia. I knew that our journey was far from over, and that there were still many challenges to face. But of course, with Remus by my side, I was ready for anything. And as we rode off into the sunset, I couldn't help but think of Eragon and Saphira, and the sacrifices they had made for their world. They would be forever remembered as heroes, and their legacy would live on in the hearts of all who knew them. It has been nearly 3 years since myself and Remus have returned to our world of Garamond from Allegacia, and though we thought we had finally achieved peace in that time, we were sadly mistaken. Reports of an unusual portal within the ruined city of Arbor Haven continued to come to my attention, and so I gathered the War Council in the city of Terravale to discuss the mysterious portal. The council consisted of my uncle Rhaegar, Lord Protector Wulfric, and the Dwarf King of the White Mountains, Hrothgar, and of course, my loyal dragon, Remus. We knew that this portal was unlike anything we had ever encountered before, and we feared what dangers may lie beyond it. Little did we know the portal would lead us to a world far beyond our own, a world filled with unimaginable wonders and dangers. And as we gathered around the war table, we discussed our options and strategies. We knew that we had to investigate this portal and find out where it led. But we also knew that the risks were high, and we had to be prepared for anything. And so, with heavy hearts and cautious minds, we set out on a journey towards the portal. Little did we know that our lives were about to be forever changed, as we embarked on an adventure that would take us to the world of Middle Earth. Okay, so I got some fantastic news for you guys and girls. I've now partnered with an incredible company called Under Lucky Stars. And what they do is make gifts to your loved ones and friends and family that little bit more personal and that little bit more sweet. They produce beautiful star maps showing a unique alignment of the stars in the place and time chosen by yourself. For example, your birthday, your first kiss, your wedding day, or the birth of your baby. They customize and make each piece for you and print it with your own text upon it, such as a header or footer, and you can choose from a variety of beautiful designs, each carefully crafted to be a worthy memento of the most important moments of your life. Using a link below in the description box and my discount code, you can receive 10% off each order. Surprise your loved ones or friends with something truly special and personal. Of course, a huge thank you to Under Lucky Stars for getting in touch with myself and putting forward this incredible partnership. Wow. Certainly another one. Wow. Absolutely chest-pounding, enchanting, and spellbinding story there, once again from the incredible mind of Luke Reason, exclusive to the DMT First to Fear channel. A mighty thank you to you, Luke, for penning this one so damn fast. What an absolutely enthralling storyline and character development, and well-building concepts. Of course, I really hope you enjoyed this narration, and I eagerly look forward to any more updates from yourself. Well, guys and girls, as ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help both the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid Crew. Now, if you think you can pen a story packing this much punch, then please do get in touch with me at the contact email, which is, as on screen, contactthedeadone@gmail.com. I really look forward to hearing from you. As ever, guys and girls, I hope you're well and happy, getting out and about in the wonderful, beautiful sunshine, and enjoying good times and adventures with friends and family. But above all, remember, be safe, not sorry.